everybody, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos for onlinechesslessons.net, and in this DVD we are going to talk about tactics. You know that tactics are a big part of a chess game. I mean, usually we win or we lose depending on tactics. So in this introduction we are going to analyze a game between Keane and Anthony Miles, two very strong players. So let's get started. White opens the game with knight to f3, and well, usually, e4 and d4 are the most common ways of opening the game as white. Although when white plays knight f3, usually he's gonna continue with c4 or d4, and especially if he plays c4 like white played in this game, he's playing the English opening. And this is supposed to be a positional opening, but we'll see that in this game we'll have a lot of tactics. Black plays c5, and he's also playing like white in the English setup. Of course, here black can also try playing g6 and trying to play a King's Indian or a Granville. He can also try playing e6 plus d5 like the orthodox. He can play c6 and d5 like the Slav defense. So here white keeps developing by playing a knight to c3, and black plays the same with knight c6, e3. Well, white is supporting the center. He wants to push d4. Here in the English there's another good move white can play, which is c3. Usually this diagonal, it's a big diagonal for our bishop, because from c2 the bishop is controlling the center, and we are also putting some pressure at queenside. That is why usually in the English opening white plays c3. In this game white wants to play d4 to get a good center, and here black plays e6. He also wants to play d5. So far black is playing same moves as white. Of course we play d4. That was our idea, so we win space in the center. And if we are allowed as white, we're gonna just push d5, and then we are winning more space in the center. That is why black plays d5 here, and this is a well-known position from the theory point of view, and we have a lot of options as white. One of them is a3, and this move, it's hard to explain because here a3 looks like a waste of tempo, but the idea is we don't want to take on c5 immediately. We want to, we'll wait till he moves the bishop. So then when we take on c5, then the bishop is wasting a tempo. I mean, he's playing bishop takes c5 in 2 steps. He's playing bishop d6 and bishop takes c5. And here we see why we played a3 before. Then we are winning space and we are attacking the bishop. Not to mention we are also ready to play bishop b2. And then we are also placing our bishop on a good diagonal. When we play a3 as white, black can also play a6. And this makes a lot of sense, because if we take on c5 here, after bishop takes b4, now black has a nice retreating square for his bishop. The bishop on a7, it's great, it's hard to attack, and what is more, black is supporting a move like d4, which is opening the center, and it's also opening that position around our king. So, this is a theory line. It's playable for both sides. But in this game, white decides to take on d5, and here black can take with the pawn or the knight. Black decides to take with the knight, and I think the main reason is, if he takes with a pawn, one day we'll take on c5 as white, and this d5 pawn, it's gonna be isolated. From the positional point of view, having an isolated pawn is not cool, because this pawn can only be protected by pieces. It can't be protected by pawns. So it's usually a weakness. And when we play the endgame, usually the king has to come help this pawn. On the other hand, our pawn structure is much better, and we don't need pieces to defend our pawns. I mean, they are together and connected. That is why probably black took with a knight. In fact, here, when white plays bishop d3, which is an aggressive move, because we are attacking the h7 pawn, here black has the chance of creating an isolated pawn, because he's gonna take. And here as white, we are not gonna play knight takes d4. That would be trading too many pieces off. And our idea as white is to keep as many pieces as possible on board. I mean, we don't want to trade. We are playing white, and we are supposed to get an advantage. So that is why we take with a pawn. And here we can see that white has the isolated. So yeah, this pawn on d4, it's weak. Although when we have the isolated, we have to also know that usually we should have some compensation, and we also have more open lines for our pieces. So in this game, we are gonna play with the isolated pawn as white, but we are gonna also have a powerful initiative in exchange. Here black plays bishop e7. Well, he wants to finish his development and castle. We castle. He castles as well. And here, very nice move by white. We have to place our pieces in good squares. Here, the rook is doing fine in the semi-open file. And then we'll have to finish our development, probably moving bishop c1 and bringing this rook to the game. And of course, his king is not well protected. Usually this knight f3, it's the best defender of the king, because it's controlling key squares around our king. And here black, it's lacking the knight f6 or knight f3 defender. That is why we can tell the h7 pawn is weak. And that is why black plays knight f6 here. So then the knight is defending the castle again. But this knight f6 offers us the opportunity to play bishop c5. So we keep bringing pieces to the attack. Now we have more pieces attacking at king side. And We can see that the d4 pawn is weak, but can black take it? I don't think so. We can just take, and after queen takes, black is up a pawn, but the problem is this queen is in danger. We can just do a discover check, like bishop takes h7 check, and then we just take the queen, and of course here we have a winning advantage. So black plays knight to b4. Makes a lot of sense, because he wants to get our bishop pair. We don't have to allow knight takes d3. This bishop is just too powerful for us. There's no way we allow knight takes bishop. And the other idea black wants to play here, it's knight d5. So then he's blockading the d4 pawn successfully. So here white plays bishop b1. As I said, there's no chance we let this bishop go, and we can play a3 later to push this knight back. The other good thing about bishop b1 is one day we can try playing queen c2 or queen d3. So then the bishop on b1 and the queen on c2 or d3, we are creating a battery. I mean, we can just try mating him on h7. So I like this so far for white. This looks powerful. Black plays b6, and he's also ready to finish his development. In a couple of moves he's gonna have all his pieces out. The other possibility is bishop d7 and bishop c6. This is pretty interesting as well. Also, if black wants to play something like bishop e8 to defend some key squares around his king, maybe. Well, but b6 looks like a good move. Thing is, maybe after knight e5, which is what white played, he'll have to be careful about the c6 square, which is only protected by knight b4. And also when we play knight e5, we create some threats as white, such as queen f3. And then the queen is, just too powerful because we are controlling a lot of good squares. And here black plays bishop to b7. Well, again, this makes a lot of sense. He's finishing his development, and next move he'll probably play something like rook c8. But here, as white, we just keep bringing pieces to kingside. We have to pay attention at our last moves as white, where we played knight e5, bishop c5, and now this maneuver, which is very important, rook e3. We have to know that we can use the rook to attack via the third rank. Here probably rook c3 or rook h3. And these moves are threats, and it's gonna be hard for black to defend, because we can also use the queen. The bishop on b1 is also participating here, so black plays c6, and well, I guess when he plays c6, he wants to blockade our bishop on b1. But c6, despite being defended twice here by f7 and h7, it's a target, and we can just put more pressure on this pawn and eventually sacrifice there to open the king's position. He could also try h6, but this is also creating weaknesses around the king. Usually when you advance a pawn in front of your king, you have to be extremely careful, because you can't move this pawn back. Well, probably playing rook c8 was interesting too, but I think that is not stopping us from our ideas, such as rook g3 or rook h3, attacking too many pawns. And here, when black plays g6, now it's easier to decide. I mean, rook g3 makes a lot of sense, because the g6 pawn, as I said, becomes a target, and we have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking on g6. So that means we'll have the chance, I mean, we'll consider sacrificing there. He plays rook c8, bishop to h6, and this move is very important as well because we are freeing some lines to attack the g6 pawn. We are also winning a tempo because we are attacking the rook, so he has to play rook e8. I mean, there's no other move. And then white decides to play a3 first. I guess he wants to push this knight b4 back, so then the queen has more squares. And when black plays knight c6, here I think it's the moment, I mean the most important part of this game, because he's trying to trade off some pieces. And as I said before, if we trade pieces here and we have the isolated pawn on d4, that's gonna favor black. I mean, any endgame it's gonna be better for black because the d4 pawn is weak. And also, we are attacking here, so we don't want to trade pieces. I mean, if you want to attack, usually it's much better to keep pieces on board. So here white decides to play knight takes c6. This is a big investment, but the thing is we are gonna open the king's position. So that is why we have to at least consider this. We take again on c6. Black has to take, otherwise his king is gonna be too open. And here it's the critical moment, because usually when we reach this position, you know, we play this almost immediately, and maybe this is not correct. Here black has some options. This looks great for white, although I don't see any discovered check which is winning. I don't see. I mean, we can move the rook and check black here, but I don't see any winning move. And after this, I don't see a winning variation either. I mean, we can probably try playing something like this, and we thread lot of discovers. This is interesting too. But the thing is here, this is not clear at all. I mean, a lot of tactics going on here. He's attacking the queen. The d4 pawn is under a pin, so we cannot take because he's gonna take the queen. So the only check we have is this one, but then he can just take the bishop, I think. And we don't have queen g6 mate nor queen h7 mate. I mean, we are investing too many pieces, and if the attack is wrong, then we are gonna lose for sure, because material-wise, we are dead. So here, instead of rook takes g6, we have to remember that when we are attacking, we always have in-between moves, or maybe we don't have to give a check immediately. g6, rook takes g6, looks great, but what about placing the queen there? The queen is more powerful. So that is why white plays queen b1. If we take a look here, queen takes g6, I mean, black can stop this move, and we're gonna just mate him on g7. So here black plays the only move, to stop queen takes c6. But we just take the knight. So here we take one of our pieces back. We still threat queen takes c6, and we are attacking the knight on f6. But again, black plays knight e4. He's still sacrificing pieces in order to stop queen takes c6. But here we got our two pieces back, and we have two extra pawns, plus his king on c8. It's quite weak. So here black tries king h7, but then, as we said, we want to play the queen to c6. So we play knight f6, check. Next move we're gonna take. I mean, if he plays king takes, then we just mate him. And if he takes the knight, then we play queen takes c6 check. Only move its king there. And here, apart from taking on f6, we should be winning. This is faster. After bishop g7, he'll take, and then we just mate him on c7. If he plays king g8, we're gonna play bishop takes and queen c8 mate. So this was a very nice example, especially in the middle game. Despite having the isolated, we created a good attack because we had a good development, and I think we have to pay attention to this knight e5, bishop c5, and especially this rook e3 and rook c3 maneuver. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you.